Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Mohana, Govinda, Dana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, 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 Dana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Mohana, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana, Mohana, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Dana, Mohana, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Dana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Dana, Mohana, Govinda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gopala, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Dana Mohana, Radha, 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 Govinda, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. So, hey everybody. So welcome to our program. We're just going to continue on now with a little bit more meditation. Then after that, for about 10 minutes, then after that we'll have a short talk, we'll have a dinner break, and then we'll go to more Kirtan, more chanting after dinner. So for now though, we're going to do a short meditation, we're using a backing track. We've got a backing track, and this mantra we're going to be doing, the next mantra is Gauranga, means the beautiful golden effulgent Lord. And so this mantra Gauranga, you'll be hearing it on the track, and you know, we can chant along with them, with the people on the track as they're saying it, if you like. And with this particular kind of meditation, we'll be doing a little bit of deep breathing with it, so you'll know there's a long gap and a long drawn out breath. It'll be kind of like one deep in breath and then like that. And as with all the meditation that we do, we don't need to struggle or strain too much. You know, we just basically focus on the sound vibration. The whole idea of mantra meditation is that the sound vibration itself is very potent, spiritually potent, and so we don't need to do anything, we don't need to imagine anything or do any kind of projection. We simply just relax, hear the beautiful yoga mantras or yoga sound, as we sometimes call it, and that's it, very easy. And so I'll put the track on, and this is a nice track because it's got our friend, some of you know him, Taratmana Das, he's reading a few quotes from the Bhagavad Gita interspersed throughout this short track, and they're basically, as they're being spoken, try to just focus. They're not very long, so just try and focus and hear what's being said. They're basically just explaining, for the most part, the distinction between the spiritual soul, our real nature, and the material body. So I'll put this on and we'll go. It goes for about 10 minutes. Probably a good idea to have your eyes closed so you don't get too distracted.
Aham Brahmasmi. I am spirit. I am not matter. I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am the eternal spirit soul, the eternal spark of the Supreme. I am only temporarily in this material body. The body is temporary. I am eternal. Aham Brahmasmi. For you, the self, there is never birth nor death, nor does the self ever cease to exist. The self or spirit soul is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. The self is not slain when the body is slain. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, the mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether these 8 comprise the basic material energies. Beyond this inferior nature, there is a superior nature, the living beings or spirit souls, who are struggling with this material nature and who are sustaining the universe. The self or spirit soul, you, can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. The individual self is unbreakable and insoluble, and can be neither burned nor dried. Know that that which pervades the entire body is indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable self. Only the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is subject to destruction.
Just before we start our short talk, I just want to offer respects to my spiritual teacher. So, there's two, there's two main branches of yoga knowledge or spiritual knowledge in general, actually, and they can be classified as foundational knowledge or structural understanding of things. Like just a few moments ago, you heard in the talk a description of how the soul, or the spirit soul, is something distinct from the material body. So that's kind of like structural knowledge, or describing the architecture of the world, so to speak, or one little aspect of it. And then there's the other important point, of course, is practical activity. Having an understanding of the architecture, so to speak. What's the correct way to move in our life? What should we be doing? Is that kind of fair enough? That's kind of pretty simple and logical, and really spiritual. The whole of what we call spiritual wisdom is based on these two different branches of knowledge, so to speak, and so. So, what are people interested in? Which one? The architecture or what should we be doing? What should we be doing? Okay. I will just spend a few minutes, just because to know what to do depends on the architecture, so to speak, depends on the way things are. And the first clue, of course, is, where it's something other than the material body. I think these days it's more and more commonly known. You could say amongst people interested in spiritual wisdom, at least, it's pretty much universally accepted that there is such a thing as the soul, or the spiritual soul, and this soul is distinct from the material body, and also the mind, the subtle material energy. That's why we have this term body, mind, spirit, right? They boiled it down like that. So once we know that, and once we know that the material body's only got a certain shelf life, right? It's not going to, our youth and our strength and so on, it's got a definite, it's finite, it's not going to last forever. So then it becomes clear that what we should be aiming our life towards, what we should be doing, is focusing on this thing called the soul. That's eternal. So then what should the soul be doing, in other words? Or what is this soul meant to do? Is it meant to, like here we are, we're all spiritual in nature, and we find ourselves, encased in a material body. It's kind of like, a good way to see it is like we're driving a car. It's like we all jump in our cars and drive off. The spiritual soul is like the driver of the material body. So sometimes people think, and if you think about, okay, one of these things is eternal and one of them's not eternal. So there's, this is interesting. This is not interesting, it's a bummer. The real you is eternal, and yet you're stuck in a material body that's going to gradually, we're born at a certain point, we grow into our childhood, we hit the prime of life at a certain point, and things are great, and then the downhill run starts. And people, as soon as I say that, oftentimes a lot of people get very upset and portray this as very negative and so on, and you can enjoy life no matter what. What do you think? Is that negative or realistic? Of course we do the best we can, even in old age, even when we do what we can, we live our life, but there's no getting around it. You know, in the name of yoga, sometimes people speak about, you know, some of the big yoga teachers in, you know, when yoga was a real fad, I guess it still is, physical yoga, they would say things like, you know, if you, you know, advance in your yoga practice, you'll overcome old age, and so on. You know, it's a fountain of youth type of activity, but of course, you know, it's just ridiculous, wishful thinking. All those people who said that, they all got old and died. You know, so, you know, this is obvious. We don't need, so we can, you know, not pay any attention to those kind of statements. So, knowing that we're spiritual in essence, yoga wisdom is all about how to tune into our spiritual nature, our eternal nature, and our natural relationship with the divine from which we've all come. When we say the divine, we're speaking of the cause of all causes, the source of all material and spiritual energies. And we say it like that so that it doesn't, people don't get offended by, oh, is this a Christian thing or a Muslim or a Hindu or a yoga thing or what about it? It doesn't matter. We don't need to think in those terms. We simply need to think in terms of, hey, we all agree that there is an original cause, an original source. That's what we need to tune into. And no matter what, if someone's a particular, you know, has got some kind of attachment to one particular faith or another, fine, that's fine. But no matter which faith we may be attached to, nobody will have an argument with this. There's no argument with this definition, the cause of all causes, the source of all material and spiritual energies. So the way of true spiritual wisdom is that we tune into our natural relationship with that original cause. And in this particular system, in my particular case, where I'm sitting here giving a talk and passing on, you know, the means of approach that I've learned, it's this singing and chanting the names or the yoga mantras or yoga sound or the names of the original cause, the names of the divine, the names of God. Again, whatever terminology someone wants to use, this is not, you know, we don't need to fight, nobody needs to fight about terminology. It's simply having an understanding of what's going on here. And it's very, very simple. So how do we move through this? As much as possible, we try to direct our consciousness in that way, focusing on these names of the Supreme. That is the road that leads to spiritual experience and experiencing our natural relationship with the divine. And you'll find, and again, this is not a controversial thing either. You'll find this, you can look in your Bible, you'll find it, you can look in the Hindu scriptures, Bhagavad Gita. No matter where you look, you'll find the same simple thing recommended. There's a nice way to understand it. Now, why these names of God? Why are they so special? It's in the yoga text especially, it's explained that the yoga mantras or these names of God enter into the material world. They descend with the potency of the divine in them. That's why, you know, all the different scriptures, they say focus on, you know, for example, Om. Om, you find that name of the Supreme in the Bhagavad Gita, or Krishna, or these different names of the Supreme. They're not made up. We're given these names, and it's kind of like, and by focusing on these sound vibrations, we follow them in a sense. They lead us right back to the source. Or in fact, they are an aspect of the source descending in the material world for our benefit. Just, it has to be that way. It has to be something. If someone, when people say, okay, develop your love for God, meditate on God, how are you going to do that? How do you meditate on God unless there's some aspect of God that you can put your consciousness on? You have to have something. And that for example, for those of you who know your Old Testament, in the Psalms especially, it's full of this advice to meditate on the names of the Lord. Our help is in the name of the Lord. Pray, full of it. And, so that's why in Christianity, for example, they have that. In yoga teachings, it's the same. Meditate on these. So it's kind of like one analogy that my spiritual teacher used once. It's kind of like, if you ever see a bee, they're really amazing. They can focus on a little bit of scent and just follow that. That scent comes from a flower and it's drifting out there, and a bee will pick up that scent and follow that trail of scent straight back to the flower. So similarly, if we're fortunate enough to come into the scent, the sound of the spiritual name, we just fix onto that sound vibration and we can go straight back very easily, back to our natural relationship with the divine. So there's many different ways to understand it, what's happening. That's just one way to understand it. What's happening when we're focusing on this yoga sound. So it's very, very simple. And sometimes people, everybody struggles with attachments to material nature, because that's not the only scent we're coming in contact with, is it? Oh, yeah, okay, today we're getting a lot of that scent here. Anybody here is going to get a lot of that scent, that particular. But you go outside or in your normal life, you switch on your computer and you jump on the internet, and you're going to get all kinds of stuff leading you one place or another, isn't it? So it's up to us. Each one of us has the freedom. Which scent am I going to follow? What do I want to do with my life? That's a choice we all make. If somebody wants to take the advice of the different scriptures, we'll follow the spiritual path. We'll try and tune into our spiritual nature and our natural relationship with the divine. That's all. And to what degree we want to do that, it's not even that, one or the other. It's by degrees, isn't it? In our daily life, I know in my life it's like that. I'm focusing, I'm sitting there doing my meditation for a certain amount of time every day, even when I'm not here. And then, at a certain point I'll go, okay, let's check the news and see what's going on there. And you go and you jump on the internet. Oh, what's this other thing? We all know how the distractions that pop up. Some of them are actually educational and good. Some of them are just useless and frivolous and don't help us at all. They simply pull us away. Hey, Chris. So, is that correct? Is that right? There's all sorts of influences. There's all sorts of scents that we can follow. So, again, most people here, I'm assuming you're interested in spiritual development to one degree or another, in one way or another, and so we provide that. We provide a meditation program, meditation practice, so you can actually have some experience of what we're talking about. And a little bit of structural knowledge as well. Yeah. Like a lady last week, she was asking about animals and whether animals have karma. You know, like we have karma, you know, depending on what we do with our life. If we do good, we'll, you know, get a good result at some point. If we do bad things, we'll get a bad result at some point. And she was asking, what about animals? You know, what are... And so that's a kind of a structural question. And, you know, the answer was, it depends on whether a person's got a discriminating facility, really. There's different ways to answer the question, but basically, if a particular living entity has got the ability, the intellectual power, the ability, the consciousness by which they can discriminate right and wrong, then yeah, they're responsible for their actions. If in a lower form of life they don't have that ability, you know, like if you're, you know, for example, if you're a hyena or something, hyena body, they can't decide what's right and wrong. They're just like ready to rip that poor little antelope to shreds. So this is, you know, that's a whole nother discussion, the animal forms of life, the lower forms of life. But so these are kind of structural questions, and you may have them, but they're not even necessary in the sense, you know, a friend of mine once gave the example of distinguishing the way that to distinguish the value of these two kinds of fields of knowledge. And he said it's like, you know, when we're chanting or when we're meditating, it's like we're getting on this beautiful airplane and we're just going to go for this amazing cruise to the spiritual destination. And he said, you know, when we get on an airplane, most of us have been on an airplane, right? And we just get on there and we'd sit back and fully confident that, yes, I'm going to get to Sydney or wherever. And please, it's about the 5th time. Okay. So we're going to... sorry. So we all know that, right? We get on an aeroplane, we kind of got a bit of a general idea of how it works. We, you know, the engine, you know, we got a rough idea, and that's enough. And so that's good, and we sit back, and so you can see meditation like that. You know, we're sitting here chanting, we've got a rough idea of what it is, and yeah. And we also have a nice experience with it as well. Kind of, okay, we're not the body, we're, you know, all the basic things, and it's enough, we go. And for most of us, for a lot of people, that is enough in the sense of that's all we're able to deal with or cope with, that's all we're interested in. And not only that, so that's cool, but it's also enough in the sense of that's all you need. You don't need to know all the hydraulics and the electronics and the computer systems and of the details of that airplane. You don't need it, but of course some of us are interested in that. And that's great and it's fine, and that's probably important to a certain extent. So these are the sort of options that are open to us. You know, I remember when I first, you know, started meditating, you know, I wasn't working at the time. I was getting supported. I was able to live with my family, and I was, you know, didn't need to support. And I had the opportunity for about 6 months just to read through so many of the different yoga texts, and there's a lot. Like I'm talking about this many kind of books, you know, that much. and I was fascinated by it all, and I was able to read it all, and that was nice. But for a lot of people, for maybe many of us, most of us, you know, we don't have that kind of situation, or maybe we're not that interested. So that's okay, you know. To whatever degree we're interested, we should try to make an effort, and that's all. If we're very interested, yeah, we could learn a lot more. If we're not so interested, we can, you know, not be. In our aeroplane analogy, you know, we can be one of those people who wants to open up all the panels and check out the wiring and so on and so forth, or we can just be one of those people who sits back and has a cool drink of one kind or another and enjoy the ride. So these are, you know, a little bit of the, talking about the territories, so to speak, that we're dealing with in meditation. And, you know, in this talk here, these short little introductory talks that either myself or Taratmana do on a Sunday, they're more or less just introductory, just give people a general idea of what's happening. And so we're not going to get into all these detailed things, but for those of you who do want to, we do have a program for that every first and third Friday of the month here on a Friday night. You could come and one of our friends, Amir and Rupa, also, they run a program where, you know, you can listen to lectures by a spiritual teacher, or you know, if you get one of our mantra cards, you can, there's a couple of websites on there, especially one called wisdom.yoga, and it's full of all kind of wonderful spiritual knowledge that you can take advantage of. And also, some of you know Acharya Das, he was here a few months ago. acharyadas.com is another special website you can go and learn more. So, again though, that's just a facility that's available, or if not, you know, we recommend that for anybody who's interested in this, you know, do as much chanting with us as possible, singing the names of the Supreme, because that's going to take, that in itself is the key to everything. It's like, if you do that, the knowledge that you can gain by reading and so on, the chanting is so powerful that it in itself will purify your mind and your heart, and that knowledge will be revealed by that process of chanting eventually anyway. Because one of the amazing things, one of the wonderful things about our spiritual nature, where we talk about the spiritual soul, is that it's already there. It's not, there's a nice verse written by one of Chaitanya's disciples. It's that pure love for God is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. It's not something to be gained from another source. This pure love can be easily awakened by meditating on the names of the Supreme. I mean, it's just, you know, if you contemplate on that, it's just so absolutely amazingly wonderful. In other words, our natural relationship with the divine is already there. It's not something we have to create. It's already there, but what? Why aren't we experiencing it? Because we're distracted by our own self-centered desires, our material desires, which lead us away from spiritual wisdom. That's all. So that's, but it's there already, and it gets awakened. It gets awakened by chanting. Kind of like, just an analogy that my teacher gave is that it's like with our spiritual nature and our natural relationship with the divine can be seen as like a beautiful shining diamond. But as we all know, these diamonds sometimes get covered and buried with dirt and muck, and our greed, our self-centeredness, our material desires, the nasty things that we sometimes do to each other. This all acts like a covering. It obscures the natural spiritual love we have within us already. So when we're chanting, this washes away the dirt, so to speak. It's like water washes away the dirt from a diamond. This chanting purifies the heart, and our natural spiritual nature and relationship with the divine just becomes manifested, uncovered. So it's already there. It's like, you ever find yourself, dinner's ready, so I've got to stop in a moment, but do you ever find yourself thinking, I know what's going on. I know. Huh? We all do. We all like to think we know what's going on. And deep down, where does that come from? It doesn't come from the intellectual level. It really comes from the fact that deep down we really do know everything. So it sometimes pops up this in a type of perverted way. But really we do know. And what we know is what we've just explained. That we're spiritual in nature, will outlast our material body, which is going to get old and ugly and it's going to die. We'll outlast that. And depending on what we've done with it, how we've moulded our consciousness in this life, that will determine where we go in the future. If our consciousness is still materially directed, we'll remain in the material world, take on another material body through the process of reincarnation. If our consciousness becomes perfectly purified, spiritualized, then we can leave the world of birth and death, so to speak, the material world of repeated birth and death, and enter into the spiritual dimension and our natural relationship with the divine. So that's what this is all about. So namaste, everybody. Thank you. Sorry we've got to have to serve our dinner now, and so for the rest of the night, after our dinner break, we're just going to have lots of chanting, and that's it. Namaste. Thank you. Just chant for a few minutes while they bring the dinner out. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, So, namaste everybody. So please enjoy the meal and we'll be back soon.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Jiva's getting his water. Yeah, Jiva, I'd like to invite Jiva to come up. Haribol, thank you.
Oh, thanks. Hey, everybody. Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana, 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 Gopala, Govinda, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Gopala, Govinda, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Dana Mohana. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we'll just do one more short one to finish up. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that's it, everybody. Namaste. Thank you all very much, and thank you all for communally making it a nice meditation session. There's no Kirtan without all of us. So, I don't think we've got any announcements, have we? Or do we?
Best of luck to Tad. Hope he's going right.
Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, our friend Tad, he's broken his hip. Had one of those falls that some elderly folk have, and bang. Yeah, he was in, it took an hour and a half for the ambulance to get there, so that was not fun. But I spoke to him early today, and he's back on his feet, and had a quick operation, and probably be back in a couple of weeks, I think, so that'll be fun. And just another reminder, you know, again, for those of you who want to learn more and, you know, delve deeper into yoga wisdom, there's a couple of good websites we've got, wisdom.yoga and acharyadas.com. They're on the little mantra card. So, and we'll be here chanting as usual, one day or another. Okay, namaste everybody.